You know, Justin, I always love it when you fuck up. Because it gives me an excuse to make a video about you and talk about how much I despise and hate you. Because we, unfortunately, made you. So for those of you who have not heard the story, Justin Bieber was on his final tour, and after his tour, he went to a hotel. This hotel had girls, you know, radical girls and fans of Justin Bieber. And during one of his time when he was swimming in the pool, there was a fangirl of his in which he called a beached whale, and said that she should be on the show The Biggest Loser. Now granted, for those of you who don't know, the sizing difference in Australia and in the US are completely different. She's a size 14. A size 14 is not the same size in terms of the USA. I believe a size 14 is about average in Australia, and that would be equivalent to, I think, a size 9 in the US. Don't quote me on that, but I'm fairly certain that's relatively close. But her size has nothing to do with it. The fact is that this little piece of shit told his fan that she looked like a beached whale and should be on the show The Biggest Loser. Ironic coming from somebody like yourself, Justin. And, you know, we all know that he's desperately looking for validation from his fellow peers that he hangs out with. He hangs out with some terrible, stupid people. These are the same people that encouraged him to pee in a mock bucket, for God's sake. So, really, if you're hanging out with people who encourage you to do that, and to an extent even commit vandalism, they're probably not the best friends you should be hanging out with. But, you know, Justin, he's 19, he thinks he's above all and can do no wrong. It reminds me of the story when he went to an indoor skydiving place, and he took the indoor skydiving lessons with his friends, and then after it was finished, he refused to pay the company that did the indoor skydiving because he was Justin Bieber and didn't need to pay. That's the type of little shit that we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. And what bothers me so much about his statements regarding to this fangirl, and there was other people around who heard him say this, and when he called her a beached whale, he even did the hand motions in her stomach, like your stomach's big or whatever. And what pisses me off so much about this is the fact that you are, Justin, in a way, abusing your fan base, the fan base that made you who you are today. If it wasn't for your gigantic, impressionable fan base of all young girls, you would not be where you are today whatsoever. And rather than help a girl's self-esteem, you discredit and put her down and slander her in front of other people publicly. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but young girls have a very, very fragile self-esteem, especially in our modern fucked up world where society always tells you that you have to look a certain way and you have to weigh a certain weight. You know, I've talked about that in many of my videos on body image. And right here, Justin, your statement, whether it was joking or not, even if it was a joke, it doesn't justify what you said to her in front of people, is disgusting. And the fact that you're so willing to abuse the fan base in which made you who you are is... I wish I could sit down and actually have a conversation with you. I mean, I'd have a hard time not calling you a piece of shit and a little cunt, but for the most part, I would tell you what needs to be said to you. And Justin, don't you dare pull the "I'm young and make mistakes." You're only saying that to make yourself feel better so you can make more mistakes. The whole "I make mistakes" line is only valid when people actually own up to their mistakes and take accountability for their actions that they've done or said, something that you will probably never do. And this is something I've never said in my videos before, but I actually think that parents, to an extent, have a responsibility for who their children look up to as role models. I really do believe that. I think that if you're a parent and your daughter or son loves Justin Bieber and you allow your son or daughter to buy all of his merchandise and go to his concerts, that anyway you're actually funding this type of behavior that Justin Bieber is doing. You're funding the drugs, you're funding the alcohol, you're funding his mentality and how he treats women. You're funding his general disregard for other people's rights. And I sincerely and genuinely believe that this is actually going to affect children's habits when they look up to someone like this and they see someone act this way, that they will, as children are very impressionable and influenced. If I was a parent, if I had a little mini Repsion running around, I would be very concerned with my child looking up to this specific celebrity as a role model. In fact, I would take the necessary steps to say, hey, you're not going to have any Justin Bieber material, you're not going to his concerts because he is not a good influence for you. You as parents have to ask the question, is this a role model that I want for my kids to look up to? So, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow reptiles, do you agree or do you disagree? Do parents have a responsibility for their children and the role models that they look up to? Specifically, Justin Bieber. Because you young fangirls out there, if this is how your role model treats people, and disregards of people's rights, vandalism, shaming somebody in public for what they look like, you need a new role model. Because Justin Bieber is going down the shithole. His career is diminishing. And he has to do, even if it's a shock value, even if it's rude, and even if it's wrong and vandalistic, or and violates people's rights, he has to do something to always stay relevant. And trying to stay relevant is going to be his destruction.